What's going on, my PT peeps and my Walking Dead family? Welcome to the PT channel. I'm One Eye Bri. You don't know if I'm winking or I'm blinking. In this video, we're going to talk about what does the X mean. Now, we don't have a finite, confirmed, definite answer just yet as of episode 907. This Sunday is the mid-season finale, episode 908, as I make this video. Hopefully, we'll get more answers in episode 908 and the rest of the series. But obviously, spoiler warning for The Walking Dead Season 9 as a whole. I don't want to ruin anything for you. Spoiler warning. But first, before we talk about our theory and our discussion, if you love The Walking Dead, please hit that subscribe button, become a valued member of the PT channel and our Walking Dead family. Photo credit and info credit, obviously, to AMC and The Walking Dead, giving credit where credit is due. Now, back in episode 906, we saw Michonne with her baby RJ, and is RJ real or not? We're not sure yet on that, but that's not what this video is covering. We're here to talk about the X's on Michonne's back and Daryl's back. That's the only thing we've seen so far. We're not sure who else has an X, but the mindset and the psyche of Michonne had a lot of people wondering if something happened with RJ or giving birth to RJ, or did Michonne sell a kidney or something like that. I don't think it's a kidney thing. I don't think it's a surgery related. I think it's a scar. It could be a brand or someone's knife mark. I don't know if it was a knife incision. I doubt it's a scar from a surgery, because you wouldn't really have a scar like that. You would have a single line and they would retract the skin. But this is The Walking Dead and not a medical show like ER or Grey's Anatomy. But Michonne had an X, and then recently Daryl has an X in the same spot. But let's talk about Michonne first. She's the leader of Alexandria, and something major had to have happened with Hilltop and Alexandria because the communities aren't getting along. The communities, well, I guess the kingdom too and the sanctuary has fallen, but the communities aren't getting along. They don't care about each other. They're not involved with each other since Rick's passing. Well, disappearance. He's still alive, but to them, I'm not sure what people think. If he's gone, if he's dead, if he's somewhere else. But Michonne and Daryl both have an X. And again, we don't have a definite confirmed answer what it means yet, but Angela Kang said that we should find out at some point. First, we saw Michonne with the X, and then we saw Daryl with the X. And initially, when you see his scars on the back, I think, oh, he had an X in his right shoulder blade. Well, I think that's an old scar. I think the X on his lower back is what Michonne has as well, so I think those two are connected. And it's pretty funny that Michonne and Daryl are the only ones that we know of for sure that have X's. Here's Daryl's scars from season 3 when he was with Myrtle in the woods, and you can see his scars. You can see the X on the right shoulder blade, so that's not new. You can see his scars on his back there and his tattoos. Looks pretty spot on for season 3 to season 9, except for the new X in the location that we're talking about. And so something had to have happened since Rick went away in episode 905. 906 and 907 were after a 6-year time jump. So what happened from then to now? Well, the last time we saw Maggie and Michonne talking, it didn't go over very well initially, but then Maggie went in to kill Negan, which she didn't do. Negan's still in the jail cell, and then she came out and gave the keys to Michonne, and then Maggie left. But who was also with Maggie? Diane from the Kingdom, well, I guess the Hilltop and the Kingdom. And in the clip for episode 908, you see Diane at Hilltop. We'll talk about that in a second, but Diane is with Maggie. So I'm guessing Diane has allegiance to Maggie, and something had to have happened with Maggie and Michonne after Rick's disappearance. I mean, they were there for each other in episode 905. It was kind of cordial, and I don't see any conflict here. But then the whole thing with Rick blowing up the bridge and then landing in the water and then going away with Jadis, but they don't know that. They don't know about Rick still being alive. But I wonder if Michonne blames Maggie and the people at the camp and the saviors and just everybody. Michonne clearly is pissed. She still misses Rick. She still mourns Rick. It's just not a good situation with that for Michonne since Rick went away. But I'm guessing something had to have happened clearly with Hilltop and Alexandria because they're not getting along. There's this, weird tension. And the only thing I can think of is that the saviors might have been involved. Some other group might have been involved. There might have been still a civil war between Maggie and Michonne. And hopefully we find out, this is just my hypothesis, but the saviors could definitely have been involved. And so we saw Jed and Regina and a bunch of other saviors, and the sanctuary fell. So that's kind of interesting as well. Was there a battle at the sanctuary or something? But in Alexandria is the only place that we've seen saviors. Alden was a savior. He's at Hilltop. We'll see him in episode 908. He's still alive. But at Alexandria, we've seen Rosita, Aaron, Gracie, Judith, RJ, Magnus Group, Michonne, obviously Father Gabriel, and some saviors. We've seen DJ, Jimmy, and Laura. That's interesting that the only time we've seen saviors is at Alexandria. Could the saviors have joined Michonne in a battle for the sanctuary and potentially Hilltop or something? I don't know if we would see that. Maybe. That would be definitely different than the comics because that hasn't really happened. But we see some saviors with Michonne at Alexandria, but none at Hilltop. Very interesting. Is there something to that? We have to wait and find out. But when Michonne takes Magnus Group with DJ and Sadiq to Hilltop in episode 908, we will see some problem there. We see DJ looking at Diane. Diane is looking at Michonne with disgust. Not like, hey, Michonne, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. It was much different when Daryl, Carol, and Henry went to Alexandria. Also, Aaron was there too. But Michonne and Diane, they're like, yeah, what are you doing here, basically? But Michonne drops her weapons, and so does Sadiq, DJ, Yumiko, and the rest of the group. They drop their weapons and leave them outside Hilltop, and then they go in, I'm guessing. But why did they have to do that? Daryl, Carol, and Henry probably didn't have to do that. But what did Michonne do to Maggie and the people of Hilltop after Rick went away? We just don't know yet. Also, the only place that I've seen a blacksmith and a potential branding iron or something that could make an X on the skin would be Hilltop. Did they make a brand and mark Michonne and Daryl? But that doesn't fit Daryl at all because Daryl was cordially invited into Hilltop, but he has an X, so that doesn't work. But again, like I said, Daryl, Carol, and Henry came into Alexandria and they were like, hey, how you doing? Got a fist bump from Tara. But also Maggie wasn't there. Maggie could have been the dividing line between everybody as well. Maggie is gone with Georgie. We're not going to see her in season 9. We'll have to wait to season 10. And I'm very interested to know the backstory with Michonne and Maggie, Hilltop, Alexandria. What's the problem there since Rick went away? Again, the X on the back of Michonne and Daryl is right where Rick had the rebar in his back through his abdomen. And I think it's highly unlikely that the X on Michonne and Daryl's back is not there on purpose because it's in the spot that Rick had the rebar. But another interesting point is that no one saw Rick on the rebar coming out of his back to his abdomen. They saw him on the bridge. They saw him holding his side, well, his stomach, his abdomen there too, so they could see an injury there. Do they have an X on their abdomen as well? We haven't seen that, but the X on the back is in the same exact location that Rick had the rebar injury. Like I said, they saw him on the bridge, but they didn't see his wound. They saw him from a distance. How much could they have seen there? Is it a plot hole? Is it a mistake? Is it something that will get answered? Hopefully, it's something that will get answered and it's not a mistake. But I find it very interesting that Michonne and Daryl are the only people to have X's so far. Some of the people could, we just haven't seen them. But those two are the only ones that have been looking for Rick. Michonne was looking for Rick at the start of episode 906. She's been out there repeatedly, most likely. Also, Daryl told Carol that he went out initially looking for Rick. He didn't find a body, so there was hope that he could still find Rick. Daryl talked about he went out looking for Rick and then just stayed in the woods. So it's very interesting to me that Daryl and Michonne have X's in the same spot that Rick was injured and they were looking for him. They're the only ones that we know of. Is there a connection there? I think so. I think there has to be, right? But what do you think? What do you make of the whole X? Like I said, we don't have a definite answer, not yet at least, so it's a discussion, a theory. We're just kind of spitballing ideas here. But what does the X mean? Is it a brotherhood, a connection, some bonding moment, and physical injury, wound, brand to show a connection that we love Rick, we are still connected to him even though he's not here? I don't know. It's hard to tell what the writers are trying to do with it. Again, we don't have a definite answer. Hopefully we'll find out more information every episode. We only have one more episode for 2018, but I'm excited to find out. Once we find out, we will share it with you guys. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and become a valued member of the PT channel and our Walking Dead family. If you love The Walking Dead, this is the channel for you. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. And tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys. Honestly, thank you.